Welcome to the True North 365 podcast, where we focus on being true to you every day of the year. On this podcast, you will hear from Alex Winningham, who is a human empowerment enthusiast and lifestyle coach, providing you with the tools you need to succeed in life. She's an independent parent, consultant with Arbonne International, and a proud owner of 2 Chihuahuas. The True North 365 message is to provide you with the support you deserve from an authentic and raw space through interviewing influential people and Alex's own thoughts on life.
I'm so grateful that you are open to sharing who you are, and you're, letting us kind of take a peek into what you've been through and where you were and where you are today, and what you wish you could have done differently to get to where you are maybe sooner, or if those journeys were necessary to get to where you are, and just exploring all of that. And you and I met at the National Speakers Association chapter here in Colorado, and your confidence and the way that you show up in your message just completely took me by surprise. And out of all the people I networked with in that room, you stood out to me because you said, "This is what I do. This is who I am. And you're gonna work with me, or I'm going to help you, or you're going to help me, or we're going to get out of each other's way." Like, it was very much like, here's what I'm doing. I know what my purpose is, and watch out, world. Here I am. Not even here I come, but here I am. And I thought, gosh, there's people out there who need to hear how you got to where you are, and what lessons you've learned along the way. And really just being able to hear first off, about who you are and what you do. If you would mind enlightening us, that would be great.
So who am I? I am a woman who has transformed the adversity in her life. Her childhood was very difficult, very abusive, and I actually lived most of my adult life wondering how things work. How do social interactions occur the way they were occurring, because I couldn't figure it out. And I've transformed that into a woman who really gets it and is confident and making a difference in people's lives, for sure. And I coach women particularly, and a few brave men who absolutely want to transform their life and really step into their confidence and step in with, on their playing field, just really, really playing full out their A game. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was shining through when we met. And when you were growing up and you were asking, how do social interactions occur, and being this abused child in a grown-up's body, is what my experience has been, that people were just grown children, and sometimes we're grown-ups that have healed from those traumatic experiences, and sometimes we're not. And so for those that are still living as that abused child, what kind of steps did you take to start learning about how social interactions occur and how to navigate that?
Well, Alex, I took a lot of steps. I spent my entire life trying to figure it out. I would join women's groups. I would join different classes, personal development classes, and I even went into therapy because I knew from early childhood something wasn't right, even though the culture within my family was, what goes on in this house stays in this house, and it's absolutely okay the way everything is going, and we are fine, and we are healthy, and we're a happy family. That was the front that we put on for everyone. And not necessarily so. I knew from a young age, it's like, this isn't jiving with me. And I went on a journey to really, really transform everything and figure it out. So when I retired from teaching, I decided there was more to the world than Cleveland, Ohio. And I love Cleveland. My heart is still in Cleveland. If you haven't been there, it's a place to go. It has amazing amenities. And that's not what this call is about. I went on the road to figure out who I was. And it turned out that in my journey, I realized I was done with my house. My kids were in their 20s and on their own and traveling the world. And my house sold in 3 weeks when everyone's houses were selling in 9 months. And, you know, I just started putting stuff in my garage sale and selling stuff. One day I wasn't selling something and the next day I was. So that was a transformation for me right there. Put the rest of my car in a storage unit and went off, and just connected with people, places, and programs where my stuff would be right in my face. Places like Esalen Institute, the Iowa Writing Festival. I was going to be a travel writer, went to a Sufi camp in the Manzano Mountains where I could clear my physical being as well as my emotional and spiritual being through dancing and eating healthy, hiking in the mountains. It was an amazing experience. And ended up going overseas. Went to Brazil and Bali and Uganda, and just really kept immersing myself in so many different opportunities that I could see what I was absolutely not putting out to the world, that I was really walking around as a victim. And connected with the Pachamama Alliance, which is an amazing program that takes people through the fact that our world can be environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, and socially just. Went into the Amazon with them and then became a training leader and connected through that circuitously to the Academy for Coaching Excellence. And it was through the coaching program that I was able to give up that victim story, because they were not going to accredit me and approve me through the ICF accreditation until I gave that story up. And it kind of annoyed me. It's like, what do you mean? You know, it's like, I came from an abusive house. You know, this was not fun. And you want me to just pretend like it didn't happen? And, you know, and the truth is, it's not about pretending it didn't happen. It's about seeing who you are being in the face of what occurred, and the perceptions and the stories and the belief systems. I absolutely really ground into who I was with my values, with my intentions, and learned to actually create a vision for my life that I would love to live. And that's who I am today, continuing today to join programs and places that I can actually grow, because when growth stops, the opposite occurs. And I'm a lifelong learner. I'm an adventurer. And I look at life as, all right, what's next? So I encourage people to just, if you see an open door, go for it, because life is amazing. Amazing opportunities. So giving up my victim story was a biggie, Alex. I absolutely had to see who I really truly was in that whole process.
Why is giving up a victimhood such a hard thing to do, knowing that being a victor is so much more empowering and so much more enjoyable and so much more impactful for us and the people around us? Can you share why it was so hard? If you can put a finger on it, which I'm confident you can, for what is it with victimhood? Why do we hold on to that piece of ourselves? I mean, what the heck? Why are we doing this?
So what's true is, if we give up the victim story in our monkey minds, which 80% of what we're listening to is negative, that's what neuroscientists are finding. If we give that story up, is it making it okay for what the abusers did to us? And in our mind, that's the story we tell ourselves, that I can't give this story up because they wronged me, and I need to live this story in order to make them wrong. And what it costs us is our life. It costs us our full-fledged living, just living full out and living from our heart. We stay in our head about all the stories that occurred. And what's true is giving up that victim story doesn't make them right. Forgiving them does not make them right. Forgiving them is forgiving for ourselves so that we can cut the cord that's keeping us attached to that person, keeping us attached to what was going on. So it's hard, and it is not impossible. We can do it with ease when we see who we are on our playing field, when we see who we are as we move forward. We're really amazing beings. We're more than we know ourselves to be.
Oh, I couldn't agree more with you. And you could touch on such a core, just a core piece of healing in my experience. And it sounds like yours too, because for you to receive your coaching certification in, did you say the Amazon, like in the jungle? Like you're
No, well, I actually circuitously ended up at the Academy for Coaching Excellence. So my journey into the Amazon was a journey for me to really, it was one piece of my story to figure out who I was.
Mm-hmm.
These people live with next to nothing, and
Yeah.
they live with nature, and nature is so healing. And I absolutely was able, through the process that the Pachamama Alliance takes you on, the journey that they take you on, we actually were taken into the rainforest and left on this long trail. There were about 10 or 12 of us, and we were dropped off at various spots where we couldn't see any other human being. And you're left there for a good amount of time, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there, it's like, oh, where did you come from? Oh, holy cow, there you are. And, and at that point, I wasn't afraid. I had already gone through a lot of, nature journeys, and I knew that I was safe in that environment. But it was amazing how when we get quiet, we begin to see so much more about our lives, about who we are, about life itself. And I could begin to see that, oh, wow, I am more than that. Just one little piece of the journey that I went on. Yeah.
Gosh, that's so cool. So I'm so, I don't want to use the word jealous, but I'm kind of jealous that that you've been on all these amazing trips and you earned them. Like, and you did all of this after retirement. I mean, right? You retired from teaching, and then you said, you know what? There's more to life than this, and I'm going to go find out what that is. You didn't decide I'm going to sit in a rocking chair on the porch and just let life go its merry way, and I'll, just succumb to what I think I should be based on my experiences. These are going to be my results. And you said, no, screw that. I'm going to have different results, and I'm going to go out and do that. So what an inspiration, not only to our youth, that there's so much time, if we see it that way, that we can like, there's no pressure on today. A lot of the people that I speak with are, 10 to 24 years old, and they are so stressed out about, what do I got to go to college, and then I got to get perfect grades. I got to, make sure I'm doing a lot of sports and all these things. And so it's so much pressure. It's like, hang on. Yes, those things are important, but there is so much time, and we have time to achieve the unthinkable. And it sounds like that was what happened for you, because growing up, that didn't seem really possible. And I'm sure you've achieved things way out more than your wildest dreams ever could have been. Like, you've exceeded maybe your own expectations.
What I learned, Alex, is that time really doesn't exist. That time actually is a made-up concept for us, that everything is happening right here, right now. It's only about the present moment. And our culture puts this pressure on everyone, especially the youth. I had that pressure on me. And now I see that I'm a woman who is adventurous, who is compassionate, who is intelligent. And when I put myself out into the world, I realized I have more to offer. I can actually make money and save money here as I'm journeying around this globe. And a lot of people thought when I sold my home and I went to travel that I used all of my home funds. I did not touch a cent of that. That home was my home that I purchased, and it was going to be there for me to purchase another one. And I'm living in one right now. It's really about knowing that there's more for us and having a vision. And as the doors open, we can actually say, that's my door, when we have a clear-cut vision. A lot of people don't know how to create a vision for their life. It's an amazing way to live, vision-focused rather than condition-focused.
Oh,
Because
that's
we
good.
absolutely move forward on our playing field. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's a good quote or slogan, being vision focused instead of condition focused. I mean, two complete opposite things. And a lot of people have trouble. And I myself, I'm totally guilty of this at times, that where my conditions are just blaring me. They're just blaring. They're like screaming, here's where you are. You think you're going to get to that vision. Well, we're going to take over, And so then the vision just becomes this far off place. And that's why having a coach like yourself is so beneficial for people to see that vision and to hang on to that. It sounds like that's a gift of yours. You're offering people, hang on to your vision. Your conditions are not who you are. They're not going to define who you are. And that's, what a gift. What a gift.
Well, what's true, Alex, is with the vision, we really want to know who we are, what our values are. I was in the teaching field for 30 years. We did not teach values in the schools. It's not allowed. So people are walking around the face of this earth and they think they know their values. And it's so fascinating when I ask someone, so what is your value system? What are a couple of your values? And they can only list one or two. They don't know who they are. And when we know what our values are, we absolutely can shift to what's more important to us, and that's our values. Our values are our heart center, and we live in our head. We're not our monkey mind, as the Buddhists say. We're not the little amygdala on either side of our brain that is hijacking us. And neuroscientists know that comes from Stone Age times, that it's absolutely not who we are. It was there to keep us safe. And we don't need to know where our next meal is. Even if you're homeless on the street, excuse me, I know where the next meal is for those people, and they know where it is as well. So in our day and age in our country, we don't need to know that. And yes, we can really go into in-depth. Yes, we have this immigrant problem right now. But what's true is there are people out there creating a vision to solve this immigrant problem, and they are making headroads in it. So getting back to our own personal life, which is really where the focus can be, in order for us to make a difference. Within that vision, we can actually have a vision for our health, we can have a vision for our life and our relationships, but more so for our vocation and our hobbies. And hobbies are important. People really need that time where they can just immerse themselves, and there is no time. It's like they go from 6 after they eat their dinner, and it's like, oh my God, it's 11 o'clock. I got to go to bed because I have to get up at 5 in the morning and go to work. They've been immersed in something that is passionate for them. And I really know that that's so important. It's like a meditation for people. And meditation has been proven to be really, really amazing. Yes, I hear your bird. How sweet.
Thanks.
Talking with
coming
us.
over to hang out with us. She's like, what are you guys doing over there? Huh?
I love it. Yeah. So knowing who we are, our values, knowing our life intentions, and then just really putting together a solid state vision in all areas of our life. It works. Then we
Yeah.
can focus on our vision rather than the conditions that exist.
Mm-hmm. So meditation, forgiveness, and vision. Those are so so important. And did you always know, like, was it the day you retired, you're like, I'm going to go find out who I am. I'm going to look at some personal development classes. I'm going to join therapy. Or what during your lifetime did you feel like there was something pulling you to go towards that? And if so, what stopped you from doing that?
I had children and I was immersed in a career. My culture that I grew up in said you need to stay in a job, you don't change jobs, you committed, you complete your job. And of course, changing jobs was not part of what occurred in my age group. So when I retired, I know the world was calling me. I was listening. I had done enough personal development to know it's like, wow, there's something more out there. I'm an adventurer. I'm going to go dig into this and just go explore the world. It's not, I didn't actually leave knowing that I was going to majorly transform my life. I have friends who knew me growing up who will say to me, Carolyn, I don't know who you are. You're not the person I went to school with. And I was like, that's the good news. The good news that I've really, really transformed my life. And I love who I am. I love what I get to do. And I love to know that at any moment, there are people out there wanting to support me, wanting to help me. And that's really an important concept for everyone to hold on to. You know, just for the sake of helping other people, I've been suicidal in my childhood and in my early adulthood. And that's not a fun place to be. I felt very alone, that there was no one to help, that, it was hopeless. It was not worth it. And I don't experience that any longer. It doesn't mean that I don't get down in the dumps periodically, but I'm able to shift so much quicker because I've got my values and I've got my vision. And I know what's occurring in my monkey mind. And I'm more than that. And I can absolutely move toward my vision.
Yeah, you have what sounds like you have a lot of awareness about, like, self-awareness about who you are, and that's how you manage any doubts, any fears, any of those, like you said, like getting kind of down in the dumps or getting, having the blues kind of come up. Like, you're able to manage those because you did the personal work to look inward and say, okay, here's who I am, and here are my values, and here's how I'm going to navigate that because my vision is so strong, and I'm using the tools that I learned how to use throughout my journey, throughout your travels and in the coaching you've been doing.
Totally. Sure.
Yeah.
I've immersed myself in the neuroscience principles, the invisible laws of success and what that looks like, because there's a whole lot out there that we aren't aware of. And I just love learning and growing, and it just adds such richness to what I'm doing and who I'm being in the world, to myself and to other people. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Now, okay, so how do you follow? Well, I guess we've kind of answered that, just going through some questions I have for you, and through just our organic conversation, you've shed so much light on the questions I have for you. So, you're following your intuition based on, again, the tools that you've learned, and then applying those tools. So many people become professional learners. I've been there, and so we just want to learn and read the next book, go to the next seminar, listen to this podcast, and before we get into action, because we're looking for perfection more than progress, and being humble or being vulnerable and talking to people and being open to making mistakes and having that growth mindset. And you've been able to to navigate that. And you're not just learning, you've actually applied it, and now you're coaching and teaching other people through example, and then through being hired as their coach and having these clients and holding them accountable to apply this stuff. Because there's nothing worse than, I don't know, it's so heartbreaking to work with people and they don't apply the tools that would really benefit their lives. And how do you manage that for fellow coaches and fellow leaders when you're working with someone and, let's pretend money's not an issue. They'll pay you over and over again, but they're just not applying the tools. How do you manage that as a coach?
I'm really, really good holding my clients accountable and helping them see it's about taking massive imperfect action. Massive imperfect action. We do not have to have it perfect, because if we're really just revolving around perfectionism, we're never going to get over that border between our vision and physical reality. Mm-hmm. So holding clients accountable, starting coaching calls with their actions, how'd you do with that? And it really, really gets them going and knowing that, oh, all right, I have a coaching call and, oh, I haven't done this. What's true also is when all is said and done, I'll pull out this stop and say to them, you're paying me an awful lot of money to not do what you say you're going to do. And successful people do what they say they're going to do. So it's very, very fascinating. It's not very often that I have to pull that stop out, and then it gets them going. They begin to see, it's like, wow, all right, I want some results, because without taking action, nothing is going to occur. We're going to get what we've always gotten. Yeah. So taking action, as far as even signing up with a coach, our coaching actually starts the moment we sign up. We begin to see a new life for ourselves. We begin to see some possibilities. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful. Taking action is huge.
It is. It's super huge. And people underestimate the value of action because, fear comes up. And a lot of the time the fear is not real. It seems real in our mind, but like you said, 80% of our thinking is from our monkey brain, and knowing our values and our vision can help us use I call it the divine mind, our subconscious, and being able to, tap into that takes that meditation and that time in learning, and then applying it can help us to see that it's working through those energies or forces, or what you were saying, more. There's so much more than what the eye sees, and how we can actually harness that to our benefit. And if, when we're coming from a place of, I think of genuine and honesty and having integrity, I think it can work wonders for us.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well said. And, getting quiet is so important. And people think they have to just go, and meditate that way. Well, washing dishes is a meditation, and yet we're always busy thinking about 5 other things that we have to do while we're washing dishes, or we're listening to a podcast, or we're listening to music. But what if we were to get quiet while we were washing dishes and just listen to what's coming up? Like when I was sitting in the rainforest all by myself, all the things that came up and came out, and just focused on me, like, who are you and what are you doing here, lady? It's very, very fascinating to get quiet. In our society, we think more is better. And what if it wasn't? What if more was not better? That what if we could actually take a small baby step even? We can climb Mount Everest one step at a time. And baby steps will get us toward our dream. It opens up the energy. And when people begin to see that it's all energy, that life is energy, and we can be an expansive energy or we can be in a contractive energy. You know, I choose to stay in expansive energy as often as I can. And that doesn't mean that the unconscious thoughts aren't going to be praying in the background and take me into my conditions. But it's about awareness, just like you said. When we are aware of what's happening, we can actually notice what we're noticing and then shift to what's really, really there, what's more important to us. And it's a vision.
Mm-hmm.
So I love working with people to create a vision for their life, because we don't know what that vision is. Oh, I don't want to close out the possibilities. Well, it's not closing up possibilities, it's being focused. And it's this or something better still. What else might occur? But you really then know your yeses and your no doors. Because they're not all yes doors.
So doors, meaning like opportunities that people bring up. Is that what you mean? Not all doors are yes doors? Like you shouldn't say yes to every book club and every group and every networking event and every, I guess, opportunity to make money?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes. We really get caught in businessoholism when we're entrepreneurs, because so many opportunities. We're just busy, and we're not focused.
Yeah.
And getting focus is really, really helpful. And coaches will help people to get focused on what's really important for you in that moment. And is this a yes opportunity for you? Because when you know who you are and you know what your intention is and you know what you're driving in your business and the service, it's about giving back. It's about being in service. It's not about getting money, because money really doesn't exist either.
Right.
It's just an energy. It's an exchange of energy.
Yeah, it sure is. You're absolutely right. And there's so many different ways we can exchange that energy for services and products. And so many people are focused on, because of society and the way we're raised, you got to grow up, you got to get a good job, you got to make 6 figures a year. And unless you're making 6 figures a year, you're not really making it, you know. And some people, once they're making 6 figures, then the ones who are making 7 figures are their competition. 7 figures or 8 figures. It's like someone said, you know, the right amount of money is just a little bit more. And that's just what it is. Cause we think we're going to reach this level of financial, status. And then we get there, and most people I hear that have reached a significant amount of money, and then they didn't feel any different when they actually made that amount of money. Sure, maybe they had more in savings, they went on a nice trip, like you were able to travel the world, but it wasn't the money that did that. It was your experience and what that provided for you, I think.
It was me saying yes when the door opened. When I had a conversation in the lodge at Esalen, sitting out looking at the Pacific Ocean on Big Sur, and this young couple said, hey, come to Brazil, come to our retreat center. We'd love to have you. Oh. It's like most people, why would I want to go to Brazil? Why do I want to go, you know? Well, I said yes.
Yeah.
I would go there. And then I combined it with an exchange program that I traveled to 3 different cities in Brazil with a group that President Carter started, the Friendship Force International. Oh. And then I connected while I was there with someone who put me on a bus to the mountains, and I stayed in my own little place, bungalow. And I was in a town where there were a lot of expats. So I was in Brazil for 6 weeks, and it really was not expensive at all. It was more about the experiences that I was able to have. I'll never forget those. I learned about acai before it even came to the States.
Oh, wow.
It was wonderful. Yeah.
So how do you want the world to be different because you lived in it?
Mm. My real mission in life is to help as many people really shift these conversations, help as many people know who they really are and know the power that they are and know what their gifts are so they can share their gifts. You see, in schools, we absolutely have everyone learning the same thing. Everyone has to answer an A, B, C, or D. There's no creativity. There's no imagination. There's no creating what your gift is. It's just not part of the curriculum until you get to the secondary and college and university level. And then it's still all standards that are set up. But when people know their giftedness, it's like, holy cow. And I coach a lot of people that are leaders in their companies, and they just say, there's so many slackers. So my mission as a coach is to help them to see, look for the good in what that person is bringing to the table. Look for their gifts and then acknowledge them for their gifts and watch them stand up to their, story and add to the team. And it's really fascinating because when we compare and we label and we judge people, it's very contractive energy. We're not going to get anywhere. And that's my mission, is to help people see when they're in contractive energy and when they're in expansive energy, and when they're aligned with their true being, with their gifts, and just really sharing with the world, because the world needs all of us now. The world doesn't need everybody to be the same. And that's my mission in life. As a former teacher who was caught up in that system and thought all my students had to know everything that everybody else knew, yeah, I think it's great when people know what their gifts are, and who they are.
And you said gratitude is a big part of that, with shifting the conversations and speaking with leaders, and I'm sure even parents in anybody, any profession, in any personality and personal life. We can look at who are we having an issue with in our life, and writing down what we're grateful for about them. And it can be the hardest thing to do, but I have friends, and you're now one of them, who has practiced forgiveness to unleash their vision, and also to become more authentic and more caring. And I think a part of that can be gratitude. So could it be that people could write out, who are they mad at? Who are they having, resentment towards, from either time they were a young child to teenage and young adult life, or throughout their life, and writing down what they're grateful for. What good quality, even if you can't come up with 5, what's one good quality that person has to help shift that energy, so you're in expansive energy to the world? Because that one contraction of energy exchange that we're holding on to can really, it's like it's holding us, instead of allowing us to expand and grow. And like you mentioned, that before you could grow, you had to let go of that. You had to forgive in order to move on. And that's just super powerful. And it's just, I think it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful way to leave the world, is to know that the conversations are changing and that everyone has a unique gift to bring out, and that we should be using that, because the world needs everyone in it.
Yeah. So what's true is, when people are doing things that really don't align with us, it could just be that they're being individuals. It could also be that they just have forgotten who they are, because life happens. We get into this contractive mode, and then we don't know who we are. We don't know what our gifts are. We don't know what our values are. We don't know what we bring to the world. So we're being this other being. And it's really, when we run into people like that, which every day we're running into people like that, it's not about judging them or figuring out. it's about thanking them. I mean, to yourself, you wouldn't thank them out loud, but thanking them because they're giving you the opportunity to step up and be who you really are.
Mm.
And that's a hard lesson, but we can do it with ease. And when we can actually see this person is giving me the opportunity to really practice my skills of being compassionate, of being understanding, because chances are we're either not aligned, because there's no one right way. There are many ways that things can be done, and that's been proven throughout history. So there's no right way, but let's say they're throwing trash all over the street. It gives me the opportunity to send them love.
Mm.
And maybe even to join a community committee on World Cleanup Day and clean up the community. It gives me the opportunity to give back rather than judging, which puts me in that contractive mode. These are skills, Alex, that it takes time for people to be reminded. Repetition is so important. To repeat, 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 because we're caught up in all these stories we tell ourselves. We're caught up in our paradigms and limiting conversations.
Mm. Yes. And our biases, right? And how we, like you said, in our paradigms, how we're viewing the world. And we'll just believe that's the way it's supposed to be done. And there's no other way. But
Right.
hey, we're all, I don't know how I'm curious to know how you view loving others that you don't know or that you're meeting. And there's like different perspectives. A tool I've used is and more recently is I just see everyone as a childlike person. I just see them as a child, and that they grew up the best they could and they're doing the best they can with the information they've been giving throughout their life. But we all started at the same place and we're all ending at the same place. So, during this curve, right, what we're here, we're all equal until we go through life. And then some of us are up here, some of us are over here, some of us are over here. And then we get into, like you said, this judging space of the differences instead of saying, hey, let's look at it where, but we were both born and raised the best we knew how to, but we all started off as pure joy, and we're all going to die as maybe not pure joy, but my belief is that when we die, we become joyful energy again. We become that divine connection, and what some people call that heaven. So that's just how I live my life because it makes me happier, but we're all equal, and we just get caught up in here.
Yeah, and grateful for this present moment that I'm standing here and this person's throwing garbage all over. I can stay in gratitude because here's the deal. Gratitude is on the frequency of abundance. And if I want an abundant life, whether it be my community grows and evolves and is really a very aware community, or I'm growing and evolving personally, it's all abundance and it's all expansive energy again. So gratitude is really, really important. I highly encourage people. In fact, it's one of the things that I give my clients all the time. Create a gratitude journal. List 5 things every day. You can start your day with gratitude or you can end your day with gratitude. Pick one. List 5 things that you're grateful for every single day. It just really puts us on a totally new frequency. And it's the frequency of abundance.
Yes.
So
do you have a definition of success and a suggestion? You've given there are so many golden nuggets on on this conversation, but to kind of wrap it up, as far as success for you, success for people you've worked with, and how to master that. If you had to pick one, if you had to pick your top thing, it sounds like gratitude might be it, but if you had to pick one, what could that be?
Success is really having the clarity about who you are and doing what you say you're going to do. That's success. Yeah. It's not on a timeline. It's, are you taking action, and are you clear about the action that you're taking? What's your intention for it? and who are you being in the world, and who are you in this world? Yes. I love to, offer people complimentary strategy sessions to kind of look at this and see what are the possibilities, and what is coaching all about. Coaching has a misunderstanding just because it's so new. It's really becoming the way to be in the world is to have a coach. And I'd like to offer people that so that they can see what does success look like in their life. Who are they? Who are they on
Absolutely.
the face of this earth today? Yes.
Well, that's great. I am excited for the audience who's listening to take advantage of that, because that's amazing. What a great offer to have a complimentary strategy session. There's a lot of people who aren't willing to at least leave a little drop of clarity in someone's life that's so full of darkness that they really can't see the way out. And you could be that little light that just comes in and says, hey, over here, let's just check something out. And then it could brighten their whole world because they choose to take action. And what a great thing. If someone says, I'm an introvert and I'm never going to work with a coach, but I love reading books. What would be your top 3 books that you would recommend people could listen to right now, either on audio or go to the library or order on Amazon or something? What would you recommend would be your top 3 books for people to invest time with?
Well, to begin with, introverts get coached. Secondly, we only retain about 20% of what we read.
Oh, yes, I would agree with that.
When we are coached, we actually retain about 80%.
Oh, I believe it.
So coaching is so powerful, even for introverts.
Yeah.
Yes, because the one-on-one coaching really, really, truly works. But top books, oh my gosh, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it actually comes across initially as money rich. But delve into that book. It's not about money rich. It's about life rich. How do you become rich in your life and what's possible? And it's just so juicy. And I love Brendan Burchard's High Performance Habits. Really, really clear, focused, great book, as well as I kind of like my book, Step Up, Step Out, Share Your Gifts and Be an Agent for Change. I didn't talk until I was 5 years old. And the fact that I wrote a book and it became an award-winning book is pretty cool for me. And I now am a professional speaker with the National Speaker Association. So it doesn't matter what your past was. It doesn't matter what occurred and happened in your life. We absolutely can transform it.
Big time.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah. With support.
Yeah. Yeah. A mentor and is something that everyone should have. And as we've evolved, people are becoming like you, like a coach, to help. Hey, I'm not here to be your cheerleader. I'm not here to be your parent. I'm going to coach you along the way. And if you look at the most successful, most people think of a coach as, I don't know if most people do, but there's the football player coach, the basketball coach. And so they think, well, coach, maybe I'm not an athlete, but we need our coaches on our sideline. It's because we're in the game, whether you like it or not. And you're either winning or you're losing. There's usually not a tie. And, so I couldn't agree with you more. And I will share your link to your book as well as how to contact you. And I have just 2 more questions and then we can wrap up. The top 3 influencers in your life, whether it's recent or in general, who are the top 3 people who have influenced you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have to put at the very, very top my Aunt Helen. My Aunt Helen was totally an enigma and totally a teacher for me and taught me so much about life in a very different way. I just love her. loved her. And she's no longer with us. And yeah, and there's also Mary Morisee. Mary Morisee absolutely touches the hearts of thousands and thousands and thousands of people with her programs. And I get to do what she does now. And Lynn Twist. Lynn Twist is absolutely amazing. Yeah, she is actually one of the co-founders of Pachamama Alliance. And she was a huge fundraiser for the Hunger Project. So very aligned with, serving and giving back and, just really helping our world to be environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, and socially just. Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts that we didn't cover that you'd like to leave our audience with?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, just the biggest thought that people are more than they know themselves to be. They're more than the stories they tell themselves. And they can absolutely overcome adversity and step into their life with confidence and taking action. And it's possible. It truly is. And I'd be happy to help anyone that's ready to get in the game. Sure.
Oh, good.
Perhaps I can leave you with my Calendly scheduler.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and schedule a session with me.
Yes. Absolutely. We'll be putting your information on Facebook. We'll have your link in iTunes, Spotify, and lots of other podcast platforms that I don't even know where we are, but we're out there. There's a lot of other platforms we're on, but Spotify and iTunes seem to be the most popular ones. So I know we're up there. And we'll post this also on LinkedIn and my website, and we'll get all of your contact information on there. So I've had such a good time chatting with you, and I know that our audience is going to benefit from hearing just the wisdom that you have. And I'm excited to see what you do next, because you continue to impress me every time we chat. I'm like, man, she's got it going on. She's like she's becoming one of my heroes. So I appreciate you a lot, and I know everyone else does too. So thank you.
That is a wrap, my friends. We had such an amazing time on this episode and have so much more in store for you. Maybe you were listening and thought, man, my friend would really benefit from hearing this. Or maybe you were thinking, wow, I'd really like to get involved and change the world with these ladies. Well, I've got some good news for you. We have openings. Yes, that's right. If you want to be on the show as an influencer, or if you want to start your own health and wellness industry with Arbonne, we are looking for you. Maybe you want to keep listening or you want to keep watching. That's cool too. We're always here for you and cheering you on your journey to be the best version of yourself 365 days out of the year. Until next time, peace.